Hey everybody, my name is Nate Usher. So a little bit about me for people who don't know. I grew up in church, but didn't have a youth group or Christian friends to go grow my faith with. And at the time, like in high school, I certainly didn't make any efforts to deepen it, and I didn't really see a reason to either. Like I was fine, things were good. So entering freshman year of college, I was used to God and my Christian routines, but if someone were to ask me why I was a Christian, I don't really think I would have had a good answer. I was simply living a Christian life without a craving for him or desire to deepen that faith. So I was a freshman during the time where second semester, we were all sent back home. So after that COVID online semester came to a close, I headed down to Texas for an internship, and everything there started out pretty great. Work was interesting. I had a great roommate, and there were intern parties that were thrown almost every weekend. So it was a great opportunity to meet people and have friends. I started to get pretty good at beer pong, and everyone at the parties accepted that I didn't really want to drink. But as the summer went on, the fun times that I experienced didn't really fill me up quite the same. I was 1,200 miles from home, my friends, and my church community. Since I didn't have a car, I never really went to church, so pretty soon my spiritual life felt like it was left back in Blacksburg. As the feeling of boredom, lack of purpose, and loneliness surfaced, a void began to develop. But lucky for me, I'm an opportunist, and I saw many ways that I could fill that void. I began to excessively drink at the parties, indulge in lust, and perfected my bulimic techniques to vomit out the food I ate without even touching my mouth. As you can imagine, this was not a great time. My normal day consisted of going to work, coming back home, eating a snack, picking out a good show on Netflix, then eating an entire quart of ice cream and vomiting it out the second I was done. To relieve feeling bad about my bulimia, I usually went on my phone or back to the show to distract me from my feelings until I went to bed. And on most weekends, I eventually ended up drunk, leaning over the balcony, attempting to vomit out all the alcohol. Also during these times, one of the girls I had met there started flirting with me at parties and invited me over to watch movies. And as someone who had never had a girlfriend or kissed a girl sober at this point, I was insecure about my ability to be liked in that regard by girls, and she was feeling that insecurity. The last week I was in Texas, after getting less than sober one night, we ended up getting sexually involved. Part of me knew that I could have just removed myself from the situation, but it was kind of weird. I was like being pulled in by this dark adrenaline. It was a very odd feeling. But this was kind of rock bottom for me. And as someone who is in rock bottom does, I laid on the couch, stared at the ceiling, and listened to songs that would put me in or out of my feelings. The next few days, I turned in this feeling of emptiness and daydreamed about being back in Blacksburg. God used this time and began changing my heart and my mind. There wasn't a specific moment, but by the time I was on the 22-hour drive back to Maryland, something inside me had changed, and my craving for God started to develop. During that 2 a.m. drive in darkness, God and I had a conversation for the first time in a while, and it started to click why I had felt empty without him. That semester back in Blacksburg, God provided me both with desire for him and a community with great godly roommates and people to support me. At the time, doing things like devotionals weren't something that I felt like I should do. But my craving for God was so strong at this point that it was something my body physically needed. And each devotional or quiet time was like taking bites out of a sandwich that I needed to fill my empty stomach. It took me some pain and a whole lot of time, but I got my why for why I am a Christian. I'm a Christian because after trying to fill myself and base my satisfaction in over-drinking, girls, work, and food, all of them ended up passing straight through me like D2. God is who gives me my purpose, who fills me, who instills my drives, and who sustains my life. And this is certainly something I cannot leave in the past. This past semester, I've been struggling not to deal with stress through food or place my identity in my schoolwork or career. And I have to keep reminding myself that my identity is in God. And if I make my goal and purpose those other things, they will ultimately not satisfy me. Now, there are two things that I very much don't want you to take from this. There's nothing bad about going to parties, drinking with friends, liking girls, and enjoying food. However, using those things to try to overcome insecurities, be distracted from sadness, and fill a void ends up falling short and will always fall short in comparison to the fullness that God gives. My name is Nathan Usher, and that is my snapshot.